complete and utter uninhabited choice, I think, is what success is to me. Was it to you, Doc?
Time is the one thing that you cannot get more of.
I heard something the other day. Somebody said, time's the only currency that we spend without knowing the balance.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you were just like spending and we have no idea when
it's like you're going to the
out.
ATM just hoping that there's something left.
Yeah. And one day it's not going to work.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Chris Harder Show. This is another one of my new format, roundtable conversations with entrepreneur friends that I have. Today, I'm going to be joined by my good friend and tech founder, Justin Benson, who is the founder of Bara Agency. I'm also joined here by my personal concierge doctor, who is not only my concierge doctor and Lori's concierge doctor, Dr. David Boyd, but also doctor to many A-list celebrity entrepreneurs. And then lastly, I'm joined here by my good friend, Steve Valentine, who's an incredibly successful real estate entrepreneur. And what we're going to talk about today is the cost of success. And specifically, what is too high of a cost to pay in order to achieve your dreams? We're going to share some really personal stories about things that we've given up in order to be successful and whether or not we wish that we had them back. So this is a very important episode. This is part one of a two-part series with this episode. And just like I did before, please DM me at Chris W. Harder in order to let me know what you think of this new format where I sit around with my entrepreneur friends and discuss things that we think are important for you and for every other entrepreneur out there. So feel free to send me positive feedback, negative feedback. I want to know what you think of this format and if we should keep doing it. In the meantime, sit back, listen up, because we're about to dive right in. Welcome back to the Chris Harder Show. This is my new format. I haven't named it yet. Maybe this is a roundtable format. Maybe this is For Idiots format. I guess that depends who's on the show.
Yeah, it's a better name.
But we got to come up with a name. Not today, but we got to come up with a name for this new format. But I can tell you I'm having fun with the new format. And I got some really good feedback with the new format. And that is, I want 4 entrepreneurs, right, myself and 3 others, to just discuss relevant and timely topics that have to do with entrepreneurship, but also life and the world. And Justin, welcome back. You were on the last time that we did this.
It was a blast, man. Time number 1.
You know, I'll let you guys do your own intros, but for context, when I knew that the subject I wanted to talk about was the pursuit of success, but at what expense, I knew what few guys I wanted to have this conversation with.
Oh, because I'm really good at burning myself into the ground. Is that,
yeah. Like when we had to address your calendar.
Thank you for that,
Steve. But you've dealt with those addictions. You know, I worked myself right into a stroke. We'll talk a little bit about that. And you know, if you didn't hear the episode about I had a stroke, go back and listen to that episode. And then, of course, we have my concierge doctor here to police all of us when we give wrong opinions and pull us back in. But you see this all the time, obviously, with your clients because you deal with really high performing entrepreneurs. So what we're going to talk about today is, you know, at what expense, at what cost do we pursue success, and how do we pursue success without these high costs that, you know, typically can wreak havoc on our lives? Before I do that, I want everyone to get to know you guys. So in 30 seconds or left, Steve.
Steve Valentine, Phoenix, real estate broker, married to my wife, Wendy, who is a general contractor. I have 2 boys that are 19 and 21. One of them works with me, and we run a real estate organization. We do a lot of flipping, investing, and creating strategies for people in the real estate space.
And for edification, would you share how big your real estate portfolio is? Because it's pretty badass.
It's about 100 homes, just a little under 50 million, depending on which way you look at it today.
That's wild.
And we are constantly adding to it and moving the chess pieces. And then we flipped over 1,000 homes in the last decade.
Dang, that's
with
wild.
My wife at the helm of the construction.
I always think it's important to get the context of success so that when the listeners are listening, they're not like, oh, it's just another real estate guy.
Yeah.
Like, they can actually understand the magnitude at which you perform. And I just think good thing, bad thing, doesn't matter. People take advice a little bit better. Like they listen up a little bit better when they know someone's already way down the path of success that they actually want to go down. So thanks for
Steve's
sharing
also
that.
like a local celebrity as
He
well.
is.
You like run
It's
into
the
real estate
goatee.
people and they're like, oh, everybody knows who Steve Valentine is. So
It's the goatee.
yeah.
Justin, in case somebody didn't hear the last one, introduce yourself.
I'm a tech nerd, so spend a lot of my time building technology at Bar Agency and now Shiloh, our big AI project, sales coach in the AI space. So that's just all I do, honestly. That, and then 2 kiddos, 2 and 4 now, and wife Faith. And yeah, I don't know. If you follow me on Instagram, you're just going to see pictures of them because that's all I really care about. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I want to edify you as well. I won't share the number, but Shiloh, you knew AI tech is going so well that you've been getting unsolicited offers to purchase it out.
Yeah.
And we're talking like life-changing, large, multi-8-figure offers so far. Have you gotten a 9-figure offer yet?
Not yet, no, but we're gonna get there. The revenue numbers keep growing so freaking fast. It's like holding on to a rocket ship. So this is a perfect conversation for where I am at right now.
Yep.
So,
and then last but not least, my personal concierge doctor, Lori, my wife's personal concierge doctor. If this is not your doctor, you're an idiot. Doc Boyd, would you introduce yourself?
So thank you for the warm intro.
Yeah.
So Dr. David Boyd, I'm the founder and CEO of Blind Spot Medical. That's my concierge practice. I take care of high net worth entrepreneurs, likely if they are a entrepreneur or influencer that someone follows on social media, they're likely a patient of mine. And 2 daughters, 14 and 15.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being here. Here's how I want to set the stage, because if we're going to talk about, at what cost does success come? I want to first figure out what you guys think is success.
yeah. Sorry,
So whoever wants to, sex.
Every
What
time
he
I
said-
say
how
it,
much
it
is
comes
sex?
out
He said
cost.
sex.
How much is sex
Yeah,
cost?
Success.
What's the going rate these days?
Yeah, this is the children's couch.
That was a
Right.
trap. If any of you answered that was a trap, by the way. All right. So Justin, let's start with you. How would you define success?
Oh, geez, that like changes over time. Honestly,
What is it today for you?
Today for me, it's freedom to be with my family and wake up and do the things that I find inspiring that day. Honestly, so been caught in the rat race that is chasing revenue numbers and whatever. I'm not famous like you guys are. I'm like the least famous person in this group.
You're the
here.
guy
You're
that's
about to be.
silently
You're
killing
about
it
to be.
underground. Yep.
So, but like chasing revenue numbers and employees and size of business and all of that good stuff. I've done that for a long time. And I don't know, like recently I've been going through even my own thing with a therapist, actually asking myself what I want for the first time in forever. It's crazy how far you can get down the road and just realize that you've been fulfilling other people's expectations. And you got a shit ton on that, right?
Mhm.
Well
Like
said.
thinking that, oh man, I was bred from a young age to be this specific person. And I thought that that was who I was, but I never actually asked myself, is that what I actually want,
Yeah.
So I'm like going through an exercise of that right now. Right. But at the core of it, yeah, I value my freedom amongst anything else. Right. So for me, success is having ultimate control of that freedom.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I was going to wait till the end, but because it's the same, I'm just going to piggyback on that.
yeah.
For me, it's choice.
Yeah.
It's ultimate choice
You and I are the
that
same.
is not encumbered by any outside force. So the choice to work where you want, when you want, or the choice not to work, the choice to live where you want and not be like, oh, but I don't want to pay the taxes, or the choice to do anything you want for the people that you care about or causes that you care about.
Mhm.
Complete and utter uninhibited choice, I think, is what success is to me. What is it to you, Doc?
Time.
Expand.
Time is the one thing that you cannot get more of.
Yeah.
And so that's what I see over and over, throughout my career in medicine, throughout the people that I work with, is that it's having time, how you want to spend your time, choosing how you get to use your time.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is that the majority of us, what we do is we end up sacrificing most of our youth chasing after financial gain. And then once you hit like your 40s or so, that's where something, I don't know if it's wisdom or what, or if it's part of some biological clock that hits, but that's when you actually start going, like, oh shit, how can I actually turn that the
It's
other
like
way?
a midlife reset.
Where it's like, I'm going to actually start using my wealth to try to buy back the time in the hope to regain some.
It's interesting that you talked about age and how success changes. And you talked about it too, like, what I used to think it is versus now. after Steve goes, I want to ask you guys, what was one of the dumbest ideas of success that you had back when you were a little bit younger? But Steve, how do you define it?
Success. See, success.
Yeah, see,
He said it too.
is the freedom to choose what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it, without cost or without consequence or resentment or obligation. And I think the bigger part of success and the things that I've seen change in myself over the last year is the amount of people that you can impact and make better in this world. And you leave whatever tattoo stamped on it that is your legacy.
But that's always been you. That's how I met you.
Sure.
We first bonded because you're a big charitable guy and you love doing things for other people. And so it sounds like we kind of have the same definition. It's all choice.
I was actually thinking like maybe we're a bit skewed in that direction because like, I don't know, you got people like Elon Musk, for example. Like if I got a bad call from Doc here and said I got a month left to live, I wouldn't be behind my desk. I'd be hanging out with my family and my friends and stuff like that. But somebody like Elon would get that call and like literally sleep underneath a rocket ship
trying to
until
achieve
he
one
dies,
last thing,
kind of thing, right?
Yep.
So it's okay if that's not your definition of success. And it sounds like we might be skewed in this time-oriented thing. But I heard it something the other day. Somebody said, I think it was like a meme or whatever. I just love memes, but this one was like a serious one. It was like, time's the only currency that we spend without knowing the balance.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're just like spending and we have no idea when
it's
it's
like you're going to the
out.
ATM just hoping that there's something left.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one day it's not going to work, you know?
Say that again.
Time's the only currency we spend without knowing the balance. Yeah.
That's nuts. You could be spending your last little bit of balance right now and not know it. Let's hope that's not the case for any of us. But
Let's hope not. Yeah.
holy shit. Okay, what was one of the
one.
worst ideas of success that you had? Any one of you?
Fucking always chasing the next dollar, right? Stepping on people to get there, whatever it took to get there. At the sacrifice, I think the dumbest thing is at the sacrifice of your personal relationships, your family, your health.
Yeah.
Like those are the dumbest things that, we chased and sacrificed all those things.
Yeah. Justin, what's the dumbest version of success you thought you were chasing?
Oh, geez. There's so many of them. It's like comes back to this core of like needing to prove to myself that I'm somebody or something, you know, or whatever. Like, and there's multiple versions of how that has shown up in my life over. Like, I thought I wanted to be a rock star, so we got signed to Tooth and Nail Records, and we did that for a while. So, like, I think like trying to chase this idea that there's some threshold basically that I'm gonna get to eventually, where I'm gonna feel okay about myself. That like that thing that I'm going after over there is like actually going to make me feel good about myself and complete. And it's just, I don't know. You hear that shit all the time from like people that are older than you. Like, it's not going to work. It's not going to, but when you're younger, you're like, yeah, but you're not me though. You don't understand. It's like one of those things that you just end up having to hit the brick wall and going, this is what they mean, huh? Like this pursuit of whatever the hell I'm chasing is broken. And I'm trying to get something that I don't actually, as a therapist always says, you never get enough of what you don't actually need, basically. And most of us are chasing something that we think that we need it, but we don't actually need it. And it's burning us out trying to get it.
Yep.
You know?
That's good. Look at you with all the little smart quips.
Yeah.
All the little mic drops. Doc, what was the dumbest version of success you were at once pursuing?
Trying to do it all myself.
What do you mean?
When I first started, when I made the jump from, being an employed physician to an entrepreneur, I mean, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to hang on to every dollar because I was broke, and it was a lot of ego. Like I was embarrassed. I'm 47 now. I was embarrassed to be 41, going through a divorce, broke, like trying to like, put food on the table for my two kids. I'm like, I'm a 41-year-old doctor and I've got no money in the bank.
Yeah.
Like I'm paycheck to paycheck. So I can't afford to like go get help from someone or I have to figure it all out myself.
Yeah. That's interesting. And I'll just chime in real quick. My dumbest idea of what success was a certain type of house. Like the bigger, badder, sexier the house. This was late 20s, early 30s. That somehow, and I know exactly where it came from, like growing up, my parents always stretched to get the best house they could. And so I followed that pattern in my late 20s, early 30s. And somehow I just thought the right neighborhood and the right house was that symbol that you were successful, and then you get it and you realize that that's certainly not it.
Yep.
Things like choice and things like impact are way better, but it's almost a rite of passage. Do you guys think you have to go through chasing some stupid version of what you think success is in order to course correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what? Get it out of your system?
Yeah, I think it's part of the whole learning process. Like on that same note, I remember at one point my threshold for success was I wanted to be the house in the neighborhood that gave out full-size candy bars at Halloween.
Oh my God. Actually, you're not, see, listen how dumb these things are, but they're real. I remember telling like Lori when we had trick-or-treaters at that same time that we had that big ass house, like, no, we got to get the full-size candy bars so that we look like the kids are excited to get it from
you want
us.
to be the house where the kid went and changed their costume just to come back.
Damn. God, why do we buy into this dumb shit?
I think it's easy to do that if you came from nothing, though, right? Like my family, like mom's side, first generation from the Philippines. She was born in the Philippines, right? So like kind of immigrant family here to America. So yeah, I grew up with like nothing, super scarcity mindset. So you hear people say things like, money doesn't solve your problems. And you're like, yeah, but
sure
you have
does.
money. So like, you don't understand. You end up trading your problems up for different problems. This is the real reality. Like it's just part of the human experience. So I think we probably all four have a similar base when it comes to that.
I think when you look at the candy bar analogy or the house analogy, it's stroking your own ego. Like, who was that for?
Yeah.
Right? Was it really that you have arrived, or was it your ego that, because that's one of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years is chasing my ego and watch it blow up until it really blew up.
This makes me curious now because the house thing came up. What percentage of your clients are buying too much of a house? Like you kind of see them, right? Because you see their financials and stuff. What percentage of your clients are like, you wouldn't say it to them. Well, you would actually, because you give good consultation, but you also don't want to meddle in their business, right? So, I'd be like, hey, is your ego kicking in? Because this is too much house for you. What percentage?
It's not the percentage, it's the type of client. It's the clients that have all of a sudden like lived really like menial and all of a sudden they've arrived and all of a sudden it's, okay, I can spend all my money in this. And
too much too early.
Too much too early. And they don't go back and listen to how am I going to build assets? How am I going to build wealth? It's all of a sudden I'm going to go keep up with the Joneses because my friend did this. So I need a $10,000 or a $20,000 a month mortgage.
Yep.
We've had these conversations, right? And it's never like made sense to me to go down that road. So it's not the percentage of clients because most of my clients are pretty, I would say, reasonable with what they're buying. And I'm always the voice of reason trying to go, hey, can we dumb this down a little bit and go buy some shitty rental properties somewhere else?
Yeah, but who wants shitty rental? I mean, everyone wants it, but it's not the fun, like, ooh, I made it thing.
Do you think that ever goes away though? Like speed checking that like shit, like I texted my wife this like 2,500 diesel truck that I want really bad, right? Do I need? No. Is it a stupid purchase? Yes,
but you can.
But I can. And also, I have to like speed check myself with that stuff. I got to like talk myself off the ledge constantly. Even our like finances are set up that way to like make sure that Justin has to go through multiple steps to actually
be allowed to spend the money on the thing.
Exactly. I even have like a financial advisor, not for like my portfolio that I'm managing is actually doing better than his, but that money is locked away from Justin because if I go to him like, hey, listen here, Ted, I need you to go ahead and give me 120 grand because I'm going to buy a truck with that. He's going to go, excuse me? Like, what are you doing with this money that you have over there? I know that conversation is going to happen and I just won't ever make the call is the true reality of it. But like, does it ever stop having to speed check that? Or do we just get better at actually stopping our impulses at going towards it? Because I feel like we've all probably done it, right? Like, first time I started making money in real estate, what did I do? Go buy a fancy car. And then, like, that was cool for all of about 3 months.
Well, I think it's what you said about when we get to that point of like in our 40s or there's something in our brain that kind of changes. And eventually you get to the point like, I can and I want this. And so I'm going to because this is what we work so hard for. But the check and balance is do I really need this or is this just a want right now? And do I need to pause and let that sit? I mean, my Escalade got wrecked last year and I'm looking at financial responsibility of things. And I look at all the cars. I'm like, this isn't that important to me anymore.
How many cars do you have though?
I was going to say it's like one of 300 cars.
When you got
But I mean, let's be honest. We have the Blazer, we have the Chevelle, one Chevelle being built. And then we've got a couple of drift cars and then the cars that we drive.
You got to take me drifting. All right, so I'm going to go first on this next question. Have you guys reached your own definition of success? I have not because it's pure unencumbered choice, and I have not reached the ability to have that yet. If it was just Lori and I think I've gotten there, but we got family to take care of and family that counts on us, and which is a massive pressure that we'll get into later. But so we have not reached, or I have not reached what I think it is. Have any of you?
No.
Have you reached your definition?
No.
Have
not
you?
at all.
No, not at all. I'm trying to make sure that the goal line doesn't keep creeping on me, honestly.
Mhm.
So,
Have you?
For the time in life, I would say my definition of success and what's changed this year.
You've got it.
I'm
That's
there,
awesome.
right?
All right, well, let's talk about that then. So at what expense, what has it costed you to get there?
Last night, when you see the presidential election go and win with Trump, I'm like, God, this whole 4 years, I just want to go away from life.
Yeah.
With what we've been through. I mean, I separated from my wife. I screwed up my marriage. I fucked up my family. And I had a massive drinking problem. And the drinking problem came from trying to achieve whatever that version of success was. In a lot of areas, we had the conversation around mastermind. I always love being around you and being around those people, but I didn't do it in the right reason.
Yeah.
There was too much influence in the wrong direction. And what I realized going through rehab last year was not so much the alcohol as my head and my heart got disconnected.
Yeah.
So, my head was all the way down the road of wanting to be the influencer and the popular person and solve everybody's problems. And that was my version of success, is like, hey, look at me. Like you said, most popular guy.
Mm-hmm.
To what extent?
Mm-hmm.
Looked good online, but everything else is failing. And I go back to it, I'm like, well, that wasn't worth it. And you start to look at, when I went through that process in rehab of where did I start to fall short?
Mm-hmm.
And what I really realized was when my head and my heart got disconnected from what that version of success really should look like versus what it is now. And you know what? If we stay even for the rest of my life, I'm okay with that, because my relationships and my family and the things that we're doing, I'm good. And this version of me stopped chasing money and started chasing impact and the things that go with helping other people get through what I went through and putting my relationships back together. And now things organically are happening in the way they should.
So how do you stop the old drivers from kicking back in down the road?
The people around you, right? So when we start going through, Garrett and Christian are here, my mind all of a sudden is into chasing 100 squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
And my entire staff has been told, when you see a squirrel that I'm chasing, put it in a cage.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Put it in a cage, put it on the shelf for 90 days.
Do you guys get real squirrels and put it in a cage?
We do have squirrels in the office.
Is it too soon to be talking about taking squirrels from people?
Sure.
R.I.P. Peanut. A freaking SWAT team showed up to kill a squirrel.
Oh, God. Right?
Anyways.
So I think that is one of the things, and my entire family and my staff, I have told them, like, hey, when I start to go down this road, pull me back.
Yeah.
Rein me back in so that I'm not creating my own anxiety, trying to do more.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you would have, so I love your answer, and it's actually making me rethink mine. Do you think you could have arrived at the same conclusion at a much lower economic bracket? Because I think some people would hear like, well, cool, easy for you to
50
say
million
you
properties,
okay, let's
100 doors or whatever you got.
Let's just address that real quick.
Yeah,
financially wise, let's look at my life last year.
Yeah.
I was pretty much off for a year.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wasn't operating at full capacity when I came back after rehab. It took me a good 6 months to get settled back in.
Yeah.
So,
but you had the financial backstop.
I had the financial to do it, but it doesn't mean that I stopped earning income for those times. I kept everybody afloat. I kept everybody employed.
Yeah.
But that put us behind, and so now we're going through economically.
But you have the ability to be
yes.
behind is the thing. What I'm like, if you
would this be different if I was broke?
Yeah, if you made $60,000 a year, and that was it, that was total income. Like you're there. Do you think it's
a really fair
possible
question.
for you to arrive to that answer that you got to at a lower economic bracket?
I would say, in the same manner, is yes, and here's why. Because if you go through it, I was fortunate enough not to burn my entire house down.
Yeah.
Financially, physically, everything. I was able to stop where I was at and put that back together. And by the way, going through with a lot of the guys that I went to rehab with and I'm still in touch with, we're helping them rebuild from ground zero. And you see the difference in who they are now and how they can operate. And I think right now, hold on the next 4 years, like I'm in a different operational capacity that I was. So even if I was flat broke, I know what to do.
Yeah.
Right. We've burned it all down before.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. I don't want to get off topic, but I just saw a Patrick Bet David quote this morning after the election. And he said, over the next 4 years, if you have $0 today, you should have 50,000 in 4 years. If you have 50,000 today, you should have at least 250,000 4 years from now. If you have 250,000, you should have at least, $1.25 million or whatever it is. And it said the next 4 years can absolutely set you up for life. And I don't even know what that's relevant to what we were just saying, but you had talked about the next 4 years. I just thought, well, even if someone's listening and they're like at 0, you can still put yourself in position in a few years to be able to make the same choices that you're making.
I guess what I was getting to with that question is like, is success, it's not a destination, obviously. There's not a place that you get to. So it's a frame of mind, essentially, right? So how do you actually arrive at that frame of mind if you have not gone through the life processes that you have gone through already, right? Like how can I like clarify that? If the ability to arrive at your place in life feels a little bit like a luxury to somebody that is struggling to go paycheck to paycheck. But I also have been on a bunch of mission trips in my life where I go to places that are crazy impoverished and they're the happiest people in the world. So obviously there's something there that's like a frame of mind. And I was actually, your answer made me rethink mine. Like, I think the thing that makes me feel like I haven't gotten to some success threshold is because it's someplace in the future. It's not where I am right now. But if you were to ask me, shit, man, like 10 years ago, what would my definition of success look like? It's literally the life that I am living right now.
And beyond.
And
beyond,
and
right?
Beyond,
and so I think it's, for me, it's 100% self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be aware of where you're at and where your true north is.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what they say, right? 1 degree off, and where do you end up? Well, where I was last year.
Yeah. Steve, you were really kind to be open enough to share what achieving success has cost you along the way. Justin, has it cost you anything?
Yeah. I mean, relationships, honestly, health, I'm bad at keeping that in line. I'm just good at trucking through my own. I'm good at putting myself on the back burner to perform and do what's necessary of me, basically. Right. So
why is that?
Oh, you want to like get into the therapy session I had this last week? It all revolves around like fear and scarcity. It's like this stupid fear that lives in the back of my mind that if I don't keep going at the click that I'm going at, it's all going to burn down and disappear, which is not true. It's like really not. We were talking.
And even if it did, you could build it again.
Yeah. Way faster, honestly. And believing that the worst case scenario is going to happen. We were talking about that the other day. Like if you make a pros and cons list, or like all of the times that the worst case scenario has happened, all the times that the best case scenario or better has happened, that list is way bigger, the best case scenario list. That worst case scenario list is like so much smaller, but the background that I came from and my version of how I was raised and stuff locked in this like scarcity mindset that I have tried so hard to like dismantle, right? And so it's really easy for me to go wake up in the morning and go, ah, shit, I feel anxious, feels like it's all going to fall apart. I'm going to go to my laptop and get to work and use that as a like solve for that thing that I'm feeling, opposed to what I should do is go, yeah, I should probably put myself first and like go work out or something, which is so backwards because like you and I like Enneagram things, like we're self-preservation 7s.
Right.
Like, we are the epitome of like, we have to have our mask on and feel okay.
But you're not doing it for yourself.
But I don't do it for myself. I'm constantly fighting like, that's what do I actually want kind of thing. Like that's going back to asking that question and actually trying to figure out how to put myself
first.
first.
If you're not in touch with what you want, then you're going to make all the wrong decisions.
Yeah. Or you just burn yourself out. Like I have multiple times. And I've gotten myself in pretty terrible spots, like not like rehab wise, but like where I feel like a shell of a human because I have pushed myself so hard and I've got nothing left in the gas tank. I'm just going station to station to station. In order to come back from that, I have to like unplug for a month. It takes that long to like come back from that level. How long
it takes to charge Tesla.
Oh. You don't like Teslas, huh? Yeah.
He's a petrol head. Oh. He's a petrol head. Doc, my pursuit of success cost me 50% of my vision in my right eye, as you know. Yeah. Am I your craziest version of all your patients of someone who's lost something in pursuit of success or no?
Oh, no, you don't even.
Not even close?
Not even close.
Scary, man. And good all at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to say who, but like give an example of what somebody has cost themselves pursuing success.
Oh, God. Okay, so I mean, for context, I take care of some pretty impressive people.
Yeah.
Like some very well accomplished people. And I learned a tremendous amount from them, from the entrepreneurial side to the life side to what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually really, it's completely changed what my definition of success and everything is. But to answer your question, I think the most costly thing is regret.
Interesting. Expand.
So, folks that have, that they've just spent so much of their time, we're talking decades,
Mm-hmm.
building and building and building, maybe they become a billionaire at this point, but they've burned through a bunch of different marriages. They have children that are adults now that they don't have a relationship with. They have, they spend their time accumulating more and more and more, and and have the Ferraris and the Lambos and the real estate in all different places, but never enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that eventually, as time creeps on, reaches a point where it's like they're so far down the path that they just keep going.
Have you ever costed yourself anything pursuing success?
Oh, for sure.
You want to share it?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm divorced.
Yeah.
My health, I've been a complete hypocrite at times, not now, but I've been a complete hypocrite at times where I'm like, here, I'm giving health advice to everyone else and not taking it myself, burning the candle at both ends, not enough sleep, way too much stress,
Mm-hmm.
not eating right. Like, for me, my drug of choice is food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I was raised when I was a kid, if I did something right, you get a treat.
There's a reward. Me too.
Yeah.
And that's why food is such a struggle for me.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's immediate comfort or a reward.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you had a great week. Let's go have the best, like Friday night out, have some drinks, have some food. I was raised with like Friday night fish fries was the reward at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Or just stress eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wander out of the bedroom at 10 p.m. at night.
Do you really?
Go, oh yeah, like all the freaking time. Yeah. And I know it's because I'm stressed out, because usually in correlation, it's like I keep waking up at 3 o'clock at the witching hours over and over again. I'm like, this is stress related is what this is.
Let's talk about stress. Clearly stress is what causes us to do all the addictions and all that. We're going to talk addiction separately in a minute, but stress was why I wasn't sleeping. And then because I wasn't sleeping, I was tired. Because I was tired, I started abusing caffeine and abusing my testosterone, abusing everything that I could get in sight in order to feel amped for the day. And I became addicted to feeling amped, and then had that stroke in my right eye, right? And now when I like zoom out and look back at it, I realized I really didn't have any stress. Like, I was manufacturing it. What I manufactured was, what if Frollo doesn't go well? And because we were in a bad point, now we have a great direction again. And what if my investors think that somehow I didn't try hard enough? Or what if they think that I lost their money? That was like my number one stress. But when I really zoom out and think about it, I'm like, these are all friends and these are all people. No one bet money they didn't have. And I can't name one person on a cap table that would actually give a shit if it didn't work out. They just wanted to be along for the journey and support me.
Yeah.
So we manufacture our own stress, but we kill ourselves based on trying to avoid or fix this fake manufactured stress. And the last thing I'd say is this: when Lori and I lost everything in 2008, I wasn't happy going through it. Don't hear this the wrong way. But once we adjusted to it, this is one of the happiest moments of our life. Why? Because we still went for walks every day, something we love. And we got to dream again, something we love.
Yep.
And we got to pursue and build something, right? In this case, it was pursuing and building a comeback. And humans are happiest, I think, when they're pursuing and building something, no matter what you already have or haven't pursued and accumulated.
Yeah.
I want to say something back to what you were talking about. You got a thought?
No,
I don't want to interrupt it.
no, it's a squirrel.
Okay.
So yeah, no, you
Put it in your
say
cage.
something. Yeah.
Put it in your cage.
Throw it in the cage.
I think that as you said it, one of the things that I want to just tell you guys is that my dad definitely died working himself to death.
Mhm.
And he was unhealthy. He was 100 pounds overweight. And I look back at my dad and go, he had really no vision of where he was going other than just working for everybody else. But foundationally, you talked about your health. It's one of the things that I'm really big with my agents and my team now is that you have got to be that foundation. My dad was not. He gave his life up for a couple of investors, which I have zero respect for because they kept him nailed down and doing the thing, and he ate like crap and he worked 20 hours a day until he died at 63.
Yeah.
Right, of cancer. And I do think that he'd still be here had 10 years before. So like when I look in the mirror, this is about the age that my dad was when I got married,
Yep.
which was 25 years ago. My son's 21. And I'm like, I don't want to go down that path, and I never will. Like, I just cannot. And I'm grateful for what I had to go through or what I got to go through.
That's interesting when you lose a dad, the reflection that it causes you to, right? When I lost mine, I think my knee jerk reaction was, oh, life is shorter than you expect. I'm going to go do nothing other than pleasurable things, right? So let's buy the lake house. Let's buy a motorhome. Let's buy all these things. Let's just experience as much life as possible, because apparently life runs out really quickly on you. And then did all that and realized, okay, that didn't make me happy either. It's just weird what happens when you lose a significant figure in your family like that.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.